with my clients when I talk to them, just let them know that, I'm not looking for your pet to sit and look at me the entire time, because that would be really boring. It'd be hard to fill an entire session and give you a lot of variety if that's what we were doing the whole time. And honestly, probably about 80% of my images, when the dog is looking directly at me, it wasn't because I asked them to, it was because I was waiting for that moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes I made a horrible attempt at a cat meow or something and got them to look my way if needed be. But most of the time it's just waiting for that particular moment or that particular look that I'm after.
So do you go to your clients' homes, or do they come to a studio?
No, actually I do everything on location, meaning I meet with the client at a favorite location, whether it's a familiar park that the dog is comfortable with. I normally try to start out their home though, because that's where the dogs are just in their own element. I can just show up, and I don't take my camera out of the bag immediately. I just kind of show up and I'm just a visitor at the home, let them get used to me, let them mill around a little bit, and then I kind of pull out my camera and go from there.
So you play with them a little bit?
Yeah, give them a couple treats if need be. And
that always works.
Yeah, just let them walk around, walk around their home, just kind of observe what they're doing. And then I kind of start from there. And then if there's an outside place that we can use at their home, then we'll do that. If not, then we'll go to an outside park to get some of those outside images.
Kind of
yeah. I mean, I love images that tell a story, and that's typically like how I approach a session, is how I can put together a cohesive collection that tells a story. Whereas one image, like either of these that are blown up big, they look beautiful on the wall as is. There are some others that don't work well without another image paired to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's an image that I took of some Brittany's. What are they? The Brittany Spaniel dogs, and they were hunters, and there was one shot where the dog had his head buried in the bush with his just tail sticking out. But alone on the wall, that doesn't really say much. But then the other picture, when he's coming out the other way, tells the story together. So when I'm shooting, that's a lot of the times, I'm trying to figure out what I can piece things together to really tell the story.
And then interestingly enough, you're able to then put that in a storybook.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I call that a coffee table album. And this particular one's a 10 by 10.
And this is, again, your dog?
Yeah, I use him on a lot of my products because I leave them sitting out at my home. So I think it'd be weird if I had other people's dogs always sitting out, and I like to see them. So this particular one is a 10 by 10, and the pages are real thick. You can kind of see how thick they are. And then this one, I can do spreads all across the page, and there's no break in the middle. There's no gutter in the page, so it spreads all the way across. So this particular book, I think this is a 15-page, about 30-side book that I can piece together. Very simple layouts. I don't do anything with polka dots or paisleys or any design elements in the back. Because I want it to be timeless. I want you to be, open up this book, 10, 15 years from now and still like the design.
So are you doing this then on a computer?
Right. Everything gets processed digitally after the session. I use two programs, Lightroom and Photoshop. Okay. So everything gets kind of tweaked in one program and then fully edited in another is how I do that. So
that takes a bit of time to go through.
It does. It really does. Lightroom is one of the best software programs out there for a photographer, I believe, because I can go through and look at all their images at once and go through and pick all the keepers, from the session, all the ones that I believe turned out well. Mm-hmm. And then start from there and kind of process along. So from the moment the client contacts me to the moment they've had their images delivered and we're done with the session and they're putting things on their walls, it's about a 10 to 12 hour time that I've dedicated to each client. Yeah. So.
And then so you take these digital proofs back to the client and suggest to them ones that you like better, or? Right.
Yeah. Typically what happens is after the session I go through and I go through the images real quickly, and I pull out like 4 or 5 that are my favorites, and I showcase those on the blog as like a sneak preview before I can get the rest of them edited. So I go through and I make just minor tweaks to them. I don't go through and fully edit, because with dogs a lot of times they're on leashes, so I don't want to go through and edit 60 images, removing leashes and making them look perfect if they're not going to buy every image. So I go through and I find all the ones that I really like. I put some up on the blog. and then I put up an online gallery for my clients. It's a password protected gallery.
Okay.
They can go through, they can watch a slideshow of all their images, and then they can click on each individual picture and kind of look at it closer and in detail and figure out if they want it in color or black and white. And I leave that up for about a week. That way they can share it online with friends or family.